Let's jump into the MLB though, Brett. Thursday is opening day. Lots of futures available on these markets. I haven't really been able to sort through all of them yet. I could see myself being on a few futures in our next episode, in episode 128, that's going to come out on Thursday morning during opening day. But I'm not finding myself on anything today. Are you?
Yeah, I found a few interesting lines, Higgins, that honestly I figured, you know what? Why not go for it? I'll start off with World Series champ. The Atlanta Braves, currently listed at plus 1,000. I'm going to put a half unit on that, Higgins. The Atlanta Braves took the LA Dodgers to game 7 in the NLCS last year, and they added Charlie Morton to their rotation. They're going to
That's
get
what they needed, was to add to their rotation, I think.
Yeah, and they're going to get back Soroka at some point. Max Fried's another year in the MLB. Kyle Wright, maybe he gets some of his stuff together. He was originally thought to be one of the best of their pitching prospects. He's like their fifth guy right now. So
Anderson.
yeah, Ian Anderson, exactly. I think the Braves are a loaded team that no one talks about, in part because the Mets are so fun to talk about. They added Lindor this offseason. They got a new owner this offseason. We have Jacob deGrom, who's, if not the best pitcher in baseball, the best pitcher in baseball. I'm not even going to say he's the second best because I refuse to admit that that guy across town's any good. But it's Jacob deGrom. But yeah, I think the Braves are just loaded top to bottom. They have a superstar in Acuna. They have another really high elite player in Albies and Freeman. So I love the Braves this year, Higgins, and plus 1,000 to win the championship. I think they're below the White Sox, who have already lost Eloy Jimenez. They're below the Padres, who have lost a starter in Mike Clevinger. I mean, I don't really get these odds.
Yeah, I think that Braves plus 1,000 is some great value, and those other two teams you just mentioned, the Padres and the White Sox, I think at least in that World Series talk right there, they are being overvalued. Those are two still very young teams. They do have basically all of their pieces, but they're still figuring out all the quirks and the right things and everything. I don't know if necessarily this year's the year for a World Series championship. I was kind of leaning the Padres to come out of the NL, though, because I could see them being in the championship series, the pennant race against the Dodgers, and it going to 7 games. And who knows what happens there, but the Dodgers are the obvious favorite, so I'm staying away at least in this episode. But I think the Padres and the White Sox are two teams that have gained a lot of interest that I don't know if there's the value there right now.
No, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think, in all honesty, Higgins, the reason the Braves are plus 1,000 is because I think we all think the Dodgers are coming out of the NL East. They have unbelievable depth in their starting rotation and bullpen. They have more outfielders than any other team in baseball. Like, they've got guys like Chris Taylor who play outfield and infield at a really high level. They've got guys in the pipeline such as Gavin Lux and Rios. Like, I mean, you want to talk about a top class organization, it's the Dodgers. But the fact that the Braves took them to 7 games last year, I think plus 1,000 makes it reasonable. To come out of the NL at only plus 550, that's not good enough return on investment for me to hold on to my money for 6 months. So I'm gonna go with the World Series championship. Go big or go home, Higgins, and take the plus 1,000 for a half unit.
That's the other half of what has me hesitant to place a future in MLB baseball. Your money gets tied up for like 6 months. We learned this last season when I had an Ohtani future that we had to keep on mentioning through the summer. I mean, COVID even made that longer in a sense, but it's interesting. There are a few props that I like. I'm gonna think them over. I might have them in episode 128, but as of right now, I'm staying away. I'm still eyeing the field.
Fair enough. I'll take 2 more hacks at it, as the kids say, Higgins.
As the kids say.
FanDuel has to make or to miss playoff bets. So, like, Will this team make the playoffs? Yes, X amount of money, no, X amount of money, right? I found one that I found really interesting. The Rays to make the playoffs, yes, plus 110. I think the Toronto Blue Jays are a vastly improved team. I think they'll be really competitive this year. This offense is incredible. Vlad Guerrero's got all the best shape of his life talk behind him. And I think there's a lot of hype, especially considering that high-powered offense will be playing in a spring training ballpark to start the year as well. So I believe in the Blue Jays hype, Higgins. But if there's one thing I know, is that the Rays make the playoffs. So the fact that I'm just getting plus money on a team that, I mean, last postseason had the hottest player in baseball in Randy Arozarena and doesn't, really stretch their pitchers out too much. So relatively speaking, they stay healthier than some other staffs and a few less injury problems because they platoon so much and they're a really savvy organization. I think the Rays at plus money just to make the playoffs, like literally just to make the wild card game, that seems like a fair wager.
I love that play. I absolutely love that play. I have no disagreements to anything you just said there. Plus 110, absolutely have a unit sit on that because that feels like smart money coming back, even if it is only a one unit coming back to you.
Yeah, you know what? Can't hurt. And at least I won't blow it on something else, right? So,
And can't get greedy. It can't get greedy. A sure thing feels like a sure thing.
yeah, exactly. It feels like a good bet. And then my last one, kind of a little bit of a home run heave here, but I believe in the Dodgers. I've mentioned it a few times. I think they're the best organization in baseball. And their shortstop is a superstar, Higgins, and he's batting second in one of the best lineups in the world. So at plus 1,500 to win the MVP, this is a guy that's just coming off a World Series MVP, by the way. I think that's reasonable value. Look, there are 100 players that could win the MVP, and none of them could be named Corey Seager. But I like where the value is here. I think it's reasonable with that number next to his name. Like, I think he's probably more closely, in my mind, he'd be like plus 1,100. So I'm getting like plus 400, units of value here.
Okay. I don't know if I'll find myself on an MVP future. I talked myself into that Ohtani one last year. Honestly, this year's probably the one for Ohtani. He seems a lot healthier than he did last year, but I think I'm going to stay away from that. I was looking at a most homers in the MLB, and Giancarlo Stanton has to stay healthy one of these years, right? Right?
Sure.
Maybe.
I mean,
Plus 2,000 felt like fantastic odds. I don't know if I'm going to find myself on that in episode 128, but that's where I'm leaning in terms of that future right there. Who knows where we go, though. I like your three picks. I don't know if I'd find myself on the Seager one, but the other two I completely appreciate.
yeah, all right, fair enough, Higgins. And you know what? You don't have to love them all. That's okay. It's okay to disagree. But yeah, I'm really excited. You mentioned Ohtani. You bet on him for the MVP last year. Sunday Night Baseball, opening Sunday Night Baseball of the year. Shohei Ohtani is on the mound for the Angels. That should be fun to watch.
It'll learn a lot about how much he has recovered, too. His preseason was pretty interesting. His spring training, we'll see how it goes with the MLB season and to what extent the Angels let him be that dual threat that he is of a batter and a pitcher.